In this episode, we're going to overanalyze a recent article published by the Morning Chalk Up that highlighted one individual's demands for NOBULL to become more inclusive, offering bigger sizes and less expensive items. And while offering a wider variety of sizes in apparel and creating cheaper footwear may sound like a fair ask, I'm of the opinion that these demands are not only a shitty attempt to be more woke and jump on the inclusive buzzword bandwagon, but from a logic and business standpoint, they're fucking ridiculous. So, for you snowflakes who get easily offended, you might want to lace them up extra tight for this one. This is episode 18 of the What the Fuck Gym Talk Show. All right, so earlier this week, the popular CrossFit-focused digital publication known as the Morning Chalk Up released this article that denounced the Boston-based footwear and apparel company NOBULL for their lack of inclusivity and accessibility. Now, the reason this article is trending is because NOBULL was recently announced as the title sponsor for the CrossFit Games and the official apparel company of CrossFit in a 3-year contract that was inked earlier this month. Now, for some context, NOBULL is a young company and was founded in 2014 by two guys who had the audacity to take on Reebok and Nike in the functional training athletic wear industry. Reebok previously held the contract with CrossFit until they dumped it after the former CEO made some fucked up tweets about George Floyd. And Nike never really had a formal partnership with CrossFit, but their signature shoe, the Nike Metcon, was a fan favorite for anybody who kips and wads and AMRAPs. With that being said, I've always been a fan of the entrepreneurial tenacity that NOBULL demonstrated by even stepping into the ring with these two industry titans. And it is clearly apparent that their years of hard work have paid off at scale. Now, this article was focused on the strong opinions of one woman, Athenia Perez, a member of the CrossFit Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council. She also started the We Belong in CrossFit Instagram account, an Instagram account that advocates for the inclusion of overly fat people in CrossFit by chronicling the horrible client experiences that these people experienced inside of CrossFit gyms. And now, real quick, we need to get this, fat thing. When I said overly fat, we got to get this out of the way. I use the term fat with the following context. Everyone is fat. Some people are fatter than others. And then there are people who are overly fat to the point of serious health conditions. So for the rest of this video, I'll be referring to people as fat in various ways. I apologize if you're offended by it, but it's fucking science. We all have fat. We all need fat. Without fat on our bodies, we die. So let's get comfortable with the idea of all of us having fat and being fat. And if you'd like to be less fat or more fat, I support your goals. Okay, fat rant over. Now, Perez's first problem with NOBULL is that now that they are officially tied to CrossFit, she believes that NOBULL needs to create products that allow for overly fat people to rock their gear. And since CrossFit has self-proclaimed themselves as the solution to the world's most vexing problem, obesity and heart disease, she insists that their sponsors must fall into the exact same mission. And that right there is just shitty understanding to the brand of CrossFit historically. Anyone who's been in the scene long enough knows full well that this fitness program was never designed for the over-fat and deconditioned. It was designed as an elite fitness program for top performers. Even as CrossFit gyms started popping up all over the world, their core audience was fittish people, not beginners to fitness, and certainly not the sedentary. Sure, there are amazing stories of people losing hundreds of pounds and getting off their diabetes meds from exercising at a CrossFit gym. But can we be really fucking honest with ourselves? At 42 years old, Perez weighed 500 pounds, and then she lost 255 of it. That's fucking incredible. but it is not due to the specific style of exercise, which for her was CrossFit. It's due to her simply doing any exercise. There is no secret to losing that much weight. It's a pebbles off a mountain type logic, and for someone to say CrossFit saved my life, it's not that it's an inaccurate statement, but I would argue that you saved your life. You could have chosen any fitness activity, and if you matched it with the dedication it took Perez to lose 255 fucking pounds, you'd be successful with hula hooping or running or CrossFit or Zumba or whatever you decided to do. So the fact that recent events have caused the CrossFit brand to now aim at the overly fat population instead of the sexy high performer is not a pivot that associated vendors like NOBULL need to also make in their own advertising. Now, do I think they will? Do I think it would be awesome to showcase overly fat people getting after it with a pair of NOBULLs on? I sure do. But that takes me to the next gripe that Perez has with NOBULL, according to this article. Their brand's clothing sizes don't fit overly fat individuals, and their price point apparently doesn't fit overly cheap individuals. Who the fuck are any of us to tell the victor of this David versus Goliath type business success story that because they finally achieved enough awareness that even allowed them to be at the table for the conversation of getting the CrossFit contract, that they now have to adjust their entire SKU line, change their branding, and lower their prices so that more people can afford them? Get the fuck out of here with that. To Perez and everyone else who shares her opinion, indulge me for just a second. In this article, you're using the pricing and available plus-size options that Reebok offered when criticizing NOBULL. You do realize that Reebok is a billion-dollar brand that has been in the industry for decades. They have unlimited resources at their fingertips, and because of their scale, they're able to achieve much cheaper products. Whereas NOBULL is an infancy startup who finally got their big shot. Is it fair to say that maybe they don't immediately have the supply chain and logistics and manufacturing resources to turn out additional sizes and styles to fit a brand new demographic they might not have ever intended on serving in the first place? Now, I'm not speaking for NOBULL. I don't represent them in any way, but it's completely logical and acceptable that NOBULL never intended for overly fat people to wear their clothing. And I think it's fucking wrong to demand that they change their branding to accommodate a demographic they inherited via a corporate sponsorship. Solving obesity is CrossFit's new mission. That doesn't mean it has to be NOBULL's. You do realize, right, that their entire brand ethos targets a specific avatar that's wrapped up in their tagline, people who train hard and don't believe in excuses. Well, guess what group of people have a ton of fucking excuses? Overly fat people who make the decision themselves to not exercise. Now, for those in that category like Perez that have shown tremendous grit and work ethic to improve their health and avoid certain death, I understand your desire to rock the newest CrossFit gear, and I truly hope and believe you'll soon be able to get NOBULL apparel that fits your body in a flattering way. But to go online and to the morning chalk up and publicly demand it means you're missing the business angle that exists here. Overly fat people are still the minority inside of CrossFit gyms. Now, you can decide to blame it on the CrossFit brand taboo, you can blame it on fat-shaming gym owners, or you can simply blame it on the fact that overly fat people probably won't naturally gravitate to what is the most intense and complex fitness program in the history of exercise. So please, if you're like Perez and others who are proud members of any fitness community and you've dedicated blood, sweat, and tears to fixing your life through exercise, I fucking applaud you. And your stories are nothing less than hair-raising inspirations to myself and others. But just because you can get up on that high horse now doesn't mean you should. Perhaps less witch hunting and being a woke warrior against a good company with clearly pure and genuine intentions, and maybe reinvest some of that energy into creating actually valuable social media that celebrates the overly fat fitness community, those who are working so hard to get out of that category. instead of claiming that you don't belong and posting the all-time greatest hits of shitty gym experiences that solely focus on fat shaming. And for the record, I'm against anyone who fat shames. If you own a gym and you're a piece of shit inherently and you fat shame an individual, I hope you soon go out of business. I just think a lot more good could be done with creating social media that celebrates those looking to change their life through fitness versus highlighting anecdotal stories of some shitty customer service experience. All right, guys, that's my hot take. That's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for watching this video. And until I see you in the next one, have a great fucking day.